Islam grants arise and give perfect praise to our great God Allah. Rise and give honors to our prophet Noble Drew Ali. Rise and give honors to the forerunner Marcus Messiah Garvey. Rise and give honors to all ills and bays, all Moors on the call, all Muslims on the planet. To be proclaimed in every meeting, Islam. I'm glad to know I have a few faithful Moors among you all, and I desire for them to know the truth and the divine truth. There's a host of jealousy about me and the movement now by the same people of our side of the nation that claimed that I was a joke and unreal. But now, since they found out from the government officials and the nations of the earth that this is the only sole foundation that all Asiatics must depend upon for their earthly salvation as American citizens, they are working every scheme that they can to disqualify me so they may take charge of the situation. I have notified all these things to you long ago in the past. It is through the faithful Moors that attribute to the movement and uplifting funds. The ones that pay their divine respects to me and the movement will be remembered. That is why I'm calling upon all faithful Moors to increase their faithfulness to me, your prophet, and your divine Moorish movement. I need finance, and I need it badly. Never before have I needed finance so badly as I do at present, so I can shove aside the discord that is facing the nation. It all comes through jealousy because of my fame and nobility. The nations of the world will not recognize the movement without I, the prophet, being head. It has been proven by my works, which I have performed in the past few years. Prophet, Noble Drew Ali. Prophet warns all Muslims to be read in every meeting. I hereby inform all members they must end all radical speeches while at work, in their homes, and on the streets. We are for peace and not destruction. Stop flashing your cards to Europeans. It causes confusion. Remember, your card is for your salvation. Failure to obey these orders will be a severe consequence. We are for love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. And when these principles are violated, justice must then take its course. Any member or group of members who hold malicious feelings towards the temple or the prophet or violate the divine covenant of the Moorish movement will receive their rewards from Allah for their unjust deeds. All true Moors will and must obey the law laid down to them by their prophet. If they lose confidence in their prophet, they should turn in their card and button, cease wearing their turban and fez, and return to the state where I, the prophet, found you. This is a holy and divine movement founded by the prophet, Noble Drew Ali. And if the prophet is not right, the temple is not right. The prophet, therefore, is sending out a divine plea to all Moorish Americans. They do their part in protecting the prophet and the temple. This is an everlasting movement founded by the prophet through the will of Allah to redeem his people from their sinful ways. Peace. Noble Drew Ali. To the members of the Moorish Science Temple of America, Islam, this is instruction from your prophet, Noble Drew Ali. Be faithful unto your forefather, divine and national creed, that you will be blessed for your good deeds that you sow in the flesh. Allah is the one that judges the world, and his judgment is on now, but the weak can comprehend it not. The end of times are drawing near, so says Allah to his divine prophet, I, Noble Drew Ali, and that is why many hearts have turned to stone. Many have eyes to see, but cannot see, ears to hear, but cannot hear. At least they'll be confounded of their sins. These are the trying hours now, dear Moors, and every evil spirit is moving, and they are trying every weak mind to overthrow and drag out the true foundation that has been laid and to cause confusion in the minds of the ones that do believe. But if you have the true love of Allah and the spirit of your forefathers, you fear not what you hear or see, but will sacrifice the utmost of your very life to protect your movement and your prophet. Watch your enemies, dear Moors. Your enemies are the ones that speak against your prophet and ridicule him to the very lowest, and the ones that speak against your divine and national principles of your temples. Act accordingly, and Allah will bless you for your good work. Peace. Your divine prophet, Noble Drew Ali. Islam, Islam, Islam. Happy Sunday.
Islamism and gratitude, brother. Sister Lachey L, would you please read our additional laws?
Islam. I rise and give praise to the great Father God Allah, honors to the Holy Prophet Noble Drew Ali, honors to Marcus Messiah Garvey, the forerunner of the Prophet, and honors to all Muslims around the world. Questionary and additional laws for the Moorish Americans by the Prophet Noble Drew Ali. Act 1. Grand sheikhs and governors and heads of all temples, all business, each said temple must be approved by the Prophet Noble Drew Ali. Before acting upon by any members, let it be finance, property, or any line of life that will cause the members to sacrifice finance, etc., that will cause the support of any group of members. Any formal officer that violates these laws is subject to be removed from his office under a heavy restriction, etc. by the prophet or the grand chief. Act 2. All members are to attend their adept meetings and their public meetings promptly. If a member is found standing around on their meeting period, shall be fined 50 cents on the first case, and on the second, he will be fined $1, which will go on your emergency fund. If member is working, his monthly dues must be paid, and if he has money in the bank, he must subscribe for as much as he is able to the Morsh uplifting funds, because it takes finance to uplift the nation. Act 3. It is the lawful and divine duty of every good member, if he is able in finance, to aid me in saving the nation, and if he does not, he is an enemy to the cause of uplifting his own people, and justice must catch you. Let it be he or she according to love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice, as I have the power invested in my hands, and I will have to enforce the law in order to save the nation. Act 4. All members, while up making a public speech, must not use any assertion against the American flag or speak radical against the church or any member of any organized group, because we are to teach love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Act 5. All members must promptly attend their meetings and send their children to Sunday school, and the teacher must confirm himself to the questionnaire, and let every member exercise his 5 senses who is able to do so, because out of your Sunday school comes the guiders of the nation. Act 6. With us, all members must proclaim their nationality, and we're teaching our people their nationality and their divine creed, that they may know that they are a part and parcel of this said government, and know that they are not Negroes, colored folks, Black people, or Ethiopians, because these names were given to slaves by slaveholders in 1779 and lasted into 1865 during the time of slavery. But this is a new era of time now, and all men now must proclaim their free national name to be recognized by the government in which they live and the nations of the earth. This is the reason why Allah, the great God of the universe, ordained Noble Drew Ali, the prophet, to redeem his people from their sinful ways. The Moorish Americans are the ancient descendants of the ancient Moabites who inhabited the northwestern and southwestern shores of Africa. Act 7. All members must promptly attend their meetings and become a part and a parcel of all uplifting acts of the Moorish Science Temple. Members must pay their dues and keep in line with all necessities of the Moorish Science Temple. Then you're entitled to the name of faithful. Husband, you must support your wife and children. Wife, you must obey your husband and take care of your children and look after the duties of your household. Sons and daughters must obey father and mother and be industrious and become a part of the uplifting of fallen humanity. All Moorish Americans must keep their hearts and mind pure with love and their bodies clean with water. This divine covenant is from your holy prophet, Noble Drew Ali, through the guidance of his Father God, Allah, Islamism, peace and love.
All right, Islam and gratitude, sister. A divine warning by the prophet for the nations. The citizens of all free national governments, according to their national constitution, are all of one family, bearing one free national name. Those who fail to recognize the free national name of their constitutional government are classed as undesirables and are subject to all inferior names and abuses and mistreatments that the citizens care to bestow upon them. And it is a sin for any group of people to violate the national constitutional laws of a free national government and cling to the names and the principles that delude to slavery. I, the prophet, was prepared by the great God Allah to warn my people to repent from their sinful ways and go back to the state of mind to their forefathers' divine and national principles, that they will be law abiders and receive their divine rights as citizens according to the free national constitution that was prepared for all free national beings. They are to claim their own free national name and religion. There's but one issue for them to be recognized by this government and of the earth, and it comes only through the connection of the Moorish divine national movement, which is incorporated in this government and recognized by all other nations of the world. And through it, they and their children can receive their divine rights unmolested by other citizens, that they can cast a free national ballot at the polls under the free national constitution of the state's government and not under a granted privilege, as has been the existing condition for many generations. You who doubt whether I, the prophet, and my principles are right for the redemption of my people, go to those that know the law in the city hall and among the officials in your government and ask them under an intelligent tone, and they will be glad to render you a favorable reply, for they are glad to see me bring you out of darkness into light. Money doesn't make the man. It is free national standards and power that makes a man and a nation. The wealth of all national governments, gold and silver, and commerce belong to the citizens alone. And without your national citizenship by name and principles, you have no true wealth. And I am hereby calling on all true citizens that stand for a free national free government and the enforcement of the Constitution to help me in my great missionary work, because I need all support from all true American citizens of the United States of America. Help me to save my people who have fallen from the constitutional laws of the government. I am depending on your support to get them back to the constitutional fold again, that they will learn to love instead of hate, and will live according to love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice, supporting our free national constitution of the United States of America. I love my people and I desire their unity and mine back to their own free national and divine standard, because day by day they have been violating the national and constitutional laws of their government by claiming names and principles that are unconstitutional. If Italians, Greeks, English, Chinese, Japanese, Turks, and Arabians are forced to proclaim their free national name and religion before the constitutional government of the United States of America, it is no more than right that the law should be enforced upon all other American citizens alike. In all other governments, when a man is born and raised there and asks for his national descent name, and if he fails to give it, he is misused, imprisoned, or exiled. Any group of people that fail to answer up to the constitutional standards of law by name, and principles, because to be a citizen of any government, you must claim your national descent name, because they place their trust upon issues and names formed by their forefathers. The word Negro deludes in the Latin language to the word nigger, the same as the word colored deludes to anything that is painted, varnished, and dyed. And every nation must bear a national descent name of their forefathers, because honoring thy fathers and thy mothers, your days will be lengthened upon this earth. These names have never been recognized by any true American citizens of this day. Through your free national name, you are known and recognized by all nations of the earth that are recognized by said national government in which they live. The 14th and 15th Amendments brought the North and South in unit, placing the Southerners who were at that time without power with the constitutional body of power. And at that time, 1865, the free national constitutional law that was enforced since 1774 declared all men equal and free. And if all men are declared by the free national constitution to be free and equal, since that constitution has never been changed, there's no need for the application of the 14th and 15th Amendments for the salvation of our people and citizens. So there isn't but one supreme issue for my people to use to redeem that which was lost, and that is through the above statements. Then the lion and the lamb can lie down together in yonder hills, and neither will be harmed, because love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice will be reigning in this land. In those days, the United States will be one of the greatest civilized and prosperous governments of the world. But if the above principles are not carried out by the citizens and my people in this government, the worst is yet to come, because the great God of the universe is not pleased with the works that are being performed in North America by my people, and this great sin must be removed from the land to save it from enormous earthquakes, diseases, etc. And I, the prophet, do herein believe that this administration of the government, being more wisely prepared by more genius citizens that believe in their free national constitution and laws, and through the help of such classes of citizens, I, the prophet, truly believe that my people will find the true and divine way of their forefathers and learn to stop serving carnal customs and merely ideas of man that have never done them any good, but have always harmed them. So I, the prophet, am hereby calling aloud with the divine plea to all true American citizens to help me to remove this great sin, which has been committed and is being practiced by my people in the United States of America, because they know it is not the true and divine way. And without understanding, they have fallen from the true light into utter darkness of sin, and there's not a nation on earth today that will recognize them socially, religiously, politically, or economically, etc., in their present condition of their endeavorment in which they themselves try to force upon the civilized world. They will not refrain from their sinful ways of action, and their deeds have brought Jim Crowism, segregation, and everything that brings harm to human beings on earth. And they fought the Southerner for all these great misuses. But I have traveled in the South and have examined conditions there, and it is the works of my people, continuously practicing the things which bring dishonor, disgrace, and disrespect to any nation that lives the life. And I'm hereby calling on all true American citizens for moral support and finance to help me in my great missionary work to bring my people out of darkness into marvelous light. From the prophet. All right, Islam. And you hear that the prophet always puts it right back on us, because he knows that when we do the work to subdue our animal mind, the carnal mind, we can overcome anything, any perceived opposition that we face. All right. Today we are going to be speaking on our Koran questionnaire, questions 71 through 80. And for the most part, we'll be talking about the higher and lower self. One thing that I want to speak on, though, before we go to really get started, was just speaking about the lower self in general, right? Because the prophet gave us the names, the words that he's using, right? He's using everything for a specific purpose, right? So he's given us the ability to recognize the carnal self, the carnal mind, the thoughts that come to us, so that we can truly be successful. Because what are we really trying to do? We're actually trying to unfold Allah within us for real, not just for talk, not just to sound good. We're really trying to be our higher selves, right? Remember, in the Bible, Jesus actually said that you will do the things that he's done and even greater if you have but the faith of a mustard seed. So we were actually being given through the scriptures the confidence that it can be done, and then the steps on how to do it, to follow in these footsteps to achieve it for yourself. And we'll be speaking on questions 71 through 80. But real quick, before we do that, I want to go up here. We talked about this last week. Question 64, give 5 names that are given to the descendants of Adam and Eve. Okay. And the answer is Lucifer, Satan, devil, dragon, and beast. Okay. And, there's 2 things with that. One, it's insinuating that the first humans, right, or the early humans did not have a lower self, that's something that came about later on. We see that also in chapter 1 in our Quran, when it's speaking on the fall of man, right? The vibration rate that we were at got slower and slower, right? And to the point where we were in this dense physical reality. And we did not just fall by ourselves. The plant and animal kingdom, right? All of these things that we consider creation now fell into this dense reality as well, which means that they also have higher natures, okay? And so we're in this dense reality, and this body that we have, that we wear kind of like a suit, like clothes that we wear, this body took on a consciousness of itself, right? A carnal mind, the animal self. Okay, and so in 64, it says, give the 5 names that are given to the descendants of Adam and Eve. And that is important, okay? And especially if you haven't heard this before, as I know everybody hasn't heard this yet. Most of us have. But if you haven't heard this before, jot this down, okay? So, all right, so what's being revealed to us is the nature of the lower self. So when he's giving you the 5 names that are given to the descendants of Adam and Eve, you're actually being given the nature. Why? Because Lucifer has a meaning. Satan has a meaning. Devil, dragon, and beast, they all have meanings. Now, even though these names might be used interchangeably to refer to the lower self or refer to whatever you would call Satan, right? In this instance, it's specifically saying 5 names that are given, right? So that means pay attention. So yeah, sometimes it's used interchangeably, okay? But right now, we're speaking on the 5 names. So we have 5 characteristics. All right. So 5 personalities, 5 disguises that the lower self uses. The lower self is cunning. Okay. And you now are being given this wisdom so that we can recognize these thought patterns that come up and realize that's not the higher self. That's the lower self. That's the animal self. Okay. And remember, in our questionnaire, it says that the lower self is traveling the earth to and fro, seeking whom it may destroy, seeking whom it may devour. So now we know these thought forms are coming, where they're emanating from. And when they happen to us as Moorish American Muslims, we know to subdue that thought, right? That's why that that picture was up on the screen, right? So when these thoughts, just remember this picture. I'm going to go over those characteristics, but remember those pictures. We know to subdue those thoughts, subdue the lower self, right? So you see the Pharaoh holding the staff of mercy and the flail. The flail is like the whip to get the beast in order. And then the staff is the little crook they put around them to gently pull them back into the flock, wherever they're supposed to be, to get them out of danger, maybe. Okay. And so we're being given the personalities of the lower self. So this is important. Let me get back to here. All right. So question 64. Lucifer, Satan, devil, dragon, and beast. Lucifer represents the intellectual mind. Purely intellectual, without spiritual insight, without the true light. All right. Because remember, spirit is aught. The spiritual realm is aught. It's true. Everything else is falsehood as far as this physical manifestation. So Lucifer represents purely intellectual thoughts, the intellectual mind. All right, remember that. So, you know, maybe you want to debate somebody or something like that. That could be Lucifer, right? Wanting to just representing pure intellectual mind, but without spiritual insight. Okay, that means that it's false light. Okay, and then Satan. Satan's the deceiver. Right? Satan is the deceiver. That's the one that's inviting others to the disobedience of Allah. Okay? And sometimes this is us too. We may be feeling some type of way and we want others to feel that way with us. Okay? And when these thoughts are coming up, like, we have to recognize it. That's the lower self. So it's the deceiver. It's the adversary. It's the one who's inviting others to disobedience of Allah. Devil. Devil represents the accuser, the slanderer. All right. Everybody got that? Devil is the accuser. That's the slanderer. Okay. And some of these kind of overlap. Dragon. The dragon's representing greed, passion, lust, perversion, ignorance, and that which is earthbound. And that's rap music, right? Greed, passion, lust, ignorance, perversion, that which is earthbound. So now you can see that pattern. This is a program that we're being programmed to stay within these bounds, right? If you're a Black man, you must stay within these bounds, right? Greed, passion, lust, ignorance, perversion, right? You have this insatiable lust. You'll never be satisfied, right? So somebody wants you to stay in your lower self, to be stuck there to the point where you can't rise up because you're a slave to your lower self. All right. And then beast is gross materialism. Gross materialism. And you know, some of these kind of interlap with each other. All right, but this is important so that we can recognize these thought patterns coming through. And then even when they're not emanating from us, you're watching TV, you hear music. Okay, you already know the program. You know that's programmed to appeal to your lower self, to make you think that it's cool to be stuck in that mindset of your lower self. Okay? And since it's the lower self is cunning, we don't see this unless you are aware. You have to be made aware. And so this is what the prophet's doing. Okay, and let's go ahead and move on. Anybody have any questions? Okay, so moving on, what is the higher self? The higher self is the mother of the virtues and the harmonies of life, breeds justice, mercy, love, and right. Can the higher self pass away? No. Why? Because it is Allah in man. What does the lower self breed? Hatred, slander, lewdness, murders, theft, and everything that harms. '74, what did the higher self say to the lower self at one time when he met him? Where are you going, Satan? Right? Recognizing immediately. Okay, where are you going, Satan? What was the answer that the lower self gave to the higher self? I'm going to and fro the earth, seeking whom I may devour. Okay, has he finished his task of devouring? Yes. When was his time declared out? When he nailed Jesus on the cross. What are the last words Jesus uttered? It is finished. And what did he have reference to? He had reference to the end of Satan. And in question 80, did Jesus say that he would return to conquer him? Yes. Yes. Okay. Let's go back up here to 71. The floor is open to questions, so don't be shy, please. If you have any questions or anything that you would like to add, anything you would like to demonstrate on, feel free to speak up. Okay, so 71, can the higher self pass away? And the answer is no. Self-explanatory, right? Because of question 72. Why? Because it is Allah in man. So the higher self is not physical, it's spiritual, right? And it's always one with Allah. And so this is the simplest way that it can be explained to us, right? That a portion of you is one with Allah. Allah planted the seed in you, himself, in you. And so this is the true message which is given in all of the different spiritual paths, right? The true message that gets distorted by people. But if you really look, you'll see that it's there in Christianity. As practiced by the different churches, now message gets distorted, but it's there. It's there in Islam as well, like in the Quran is revealed to the Prophet Muhammad, but as practiced by people, it gets distorted. It was there with Buddha as well, but as practiced by the people, I'm not just saying this, just to keep repeating, it gets distorted. That's why in this day and age, not knocking what people believe and think, but you'll see in 2021, they still have people in the East that they say are special because this person is a reincarnation of Buddha. Okay. And it's like, I'm, not attacking, not trying to dumb down what they're saying, just saying that you're missing the point. Buddha's life was to serve as a blueprint for you so that you can unveil Allah within you, just as Jesus was, just as the Prophet Muhammad was, just as Krishna was, right? In our Quran, doesn't Jesus see a statue of Krishna? I'm not mistaken, there's a statue of Krishna. He's like, this is lifeless. We don't need to, that's missing the whole point. If you go and study actually Krishna's life, you'll see that actually he was showing you how to unveil Allah within you as well. But people got it distorted and just saw that, okay, he's special. This person is, right? Holding that up. But no, we understand that the higher self is in us all. And the higher self cannot pass away. Why? Because it is Allah and man. And this is what we're getting back to. Question 73. You have the lower self breeds hatred, slander, lewdness, murder, theft, and everything that harms. Hatred, slander, lewdness, that's 5 things, right? I mean, you have also everything that harms, but basically these line up also with the personalities of the lower self. Okay, and it's not a coincidence that this is also like, for the most part, this is not trying to attack rap, but this is like the frequency that rap music in the mainstream is stuck on, right? And everything that's earthbound, drugs. Okay, and that's also why when you go down to 74, what did the higher self say to the lower self at one time when he met him? Where are you going, Satan? And then what was the answer? What was the answer that the lower self gave to the higher self? I'm going to and fro the earth, seeking whom I may devour. Okay, when you look at this, all right, this is also a reason why, like I've seen people online complaining, saying that you have people from different nations, like different Africans, like Nigerians, saying they don't like African Americans. And like on an individual basis, that's probably not true, you know, but in general, right? The music that is made here gets pumped out all over the world. And so what they see from us is straight lower self. Traveling to and fro the earth, seeking whom I may devour. That's all they see. And so they don't like it. They don't want their children marrying those people if they're coming to this country, right? They're like, stay away from them. We see that in music that they're no good, right? They're just traveling the earth, seeking whom they may devour. That's what they're seeing. So when it's coming into their country, that they have trap and drill music in Africa and different nations there now, right? So this stuff is traveling the earth, seeking whom it may devour, because it's on that frequency of the lower self. Okay, and so people that have culture, that have they have their own culture that they practice, they still have some things in place to protect them from that program. And so there's people who are pushing against it. They don't agree with it. They don't like it, right? And so, it's important to understand that. And the prophet is telling us, right, that that's what we're doing when we're in our lower self, whether we realize it or not, because beasts devour their prey. There's no sympathy out there, right? It could be a little animal got separated from his mom. Who cares? I'm going to eat that little animal, right? I'm going to devour it. I'll devour the mom too, especially if she hurt, broke her leg or something. They're done, right? You're just going around seeking whom you may devour. And so in the lower self, we're literally going around to eat everyone that we encounter. And it doesn't matter how it gets dressed up, how we try to make it appear. That's what it is, right? And that's going back to the music. That's what it is too, right? When it's getting dressed up like this and sold to the world. That's what people that have a culture see when they see us, or what they think is us, because this is what's getting presented to them. That's not who we truly are. Okay. And so it's important for us to have our own culture. And this is why the prophet had to return us to Islam, so that we have protections, so that we can see what's being done to us, so that we can see the manipulation and see right through it. Right. But first, we have to actually come in here and understand what's being said to us, and understand what we are being given, and then put it into actuality. So it's important that we all know, at least everyone here, knows how to recognize the lower self, right? And then has he finished this task of devouring? So the prophet is telling us that the lower self is actually done devouring. It's through, right? But it's not speaking about everyone on an individual basis. It's just letting it be known that when Jesus, from a physical perspective, actually overcame the lower self, right? When he actually did this, he showed that it could be done, and he left the blueprint for us, right? And so it's not, how we were told in the church that, oh, you just sin all you want and you just repent and Jesus died for your sins, they're all washed away. It's like, no, that's not why what he did was special. He left the blueprint for us so that we can actually subdue our lower self, so that we're no longer slaves to our lower self, so that we can't be taken advantage of in any of these things, because we're not stuck in that mode. Now we can be the greater version of us. Okay? And so that's also why, okay, this is when his time was declared out. Because what happens when one person, one human breaks a world record? Is that it? It's like, oh, he broke the world record, nobody's going to touch it. Now somebody else now has it in their mind that they can break it. Usain Bolt ran as fast as he could run, and now other people like, okay, we could do that too, right? Somebody hits the home run record. What? Barry Bonds broke it like right after Mark McGwire broke it, right? So I'm just saying it as an example. So Jesus could do it, and so can we, right? And he said that out of his own, in the scripture, right? He said that, but just saying he left the blueprint for us. And that's why this is the last words that he uttered. It is finished. He fulfilled the prophecy, right? So once one of us did it and let it be known that it could be done, now everyone else can do it. You can open up the floodgates. And so that's what he had reference to too, from my perspective, when he's speaking on the end of Satan, the end of the lower self being in control. That's like you, instead of riding on a horse or riding on a donkey, trying to carry them on your back, right? That's ridiculous. You're supposed to ride the beast. You're supposed to be in control of the beast. And it's not like you're looking down on the beast or abusing it. No, you don't do that. It's just that you're supposed to be in control. That's the natural order of things, right? You must be in control of the beast. It's not supposed to be the other way around. The beast knows that, and you're supposed to know that as well. Okay, but what happened was, okay, for whatever reasons, several different reasons, you lost knowledge of this, right? And so the beast is just taking advantage of the fact that nobody's in control. All right, so and then last question, 80. Did Jesus say that he would return to conquer? Return to conquer him? And then answer is yes, Islam. And we see that in our prophet. He came back with the message. Every prophet, okay, is someone who is in tune with their higher self, meaning they're one with Allah. Okay? And so that same spirit is incarnated in the flesh. Islam. And you had that phrase reincarnation. I don't know, like, if we exactly would have the same view on reincarnation that some other people may have, as far as it being the same soul and all of that. No, it's the spirit. The spirit is one with Allah. Everyone has a different individual soul, right? But when you have this spirit that doesn't even have the free will to say no, it's just got to do what the Most High commands. It's one with Allah. And that's the same spirit. That's the same energy coming through. And it has to deliver the message. Even if they know, oh, the people are going to turn against me, this is going to be difficult, they're still going to do it. Whereas you or me can say, nah, it's too hard. I give up. I quit. They can't. And so you have that same energy coming through at the end of an age. and the beginning of another age, and it never fails. The prophet came through right around the end of one age, right? The Piscean age, and we're going into the age of Aquarius. And he had to prepare the people for the coming time, or the changes that were coming about. Islam. And going to go ahead and close out, but if anybody has any questions or any insight, anything that you would like to share, please feel free to speak up. And on that note, I yield the floor. Islam. All right. Okay. So yeah, if there's no questions, nobody has anything they'd like to say, just want to remind everyone, next Friday, for our Holy Day meeting, we will also have a short presentation, just speaking about the prophet. For those that don't know, the prophet's birthday is on January 8th. And that's going to be on Saturday, but we're gonna go ahead and celebrate together as a unit on the 7th, on that holy day. Okay, and the prophet actually issued a letter in his lifetime saying that for us to have our Christmas be on January 8th, on his birthday, right? So, like, for example, Morris children, everybody's able to receive gifts and celebrate, to have our own festivities, our own holidays. And so that will be on January 8th. And we're on the 7th for Holy Day, we're going to celebrate, and we will do that on Zoom. And we'll have a presentation also about the prophet, Islam. All right. And I think that is all. Yeah, that's all. So on that note, without further ado, I want to announce we're going to go into the closing of the meeting. I do want to say one more thing. Just want to make sure everybody knows our website is Moorishamericans.com. Moorishamericans.com. You can go on there and you can click one of the buttons at the top to pay dues and also to send donations. And you can set up monthly dues, or you can do a donation for the entire year. You can also just do them, just one-time donation. All right. And so that's all. You can go to Moorishamericans.com. Also, I ask that everybody makes an account on there. All right. Because we have a forum on there, and we're going to be using that more in the future. So I ask that everybody makes a free account on Moorishamericans.com, like a free profile. And that's it for today. Right. Thank all you Moors for coming on, for joining us. All right. All meetings are to be open and closed promptly according to the Circle 7 and love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Everyone, please rise and face the east for the closing prayer. And you do not need to repeat after me. That we stand facing the east with our heels together, feet at a 45-degree angle, holding up 2 fingers on the right, 5 on the left. Allah, bind our hearts and minds back to our ancient forefathers' divine creed and principles. We ask this in our holy name and the 7 Elohim. Amen. Islam, Islam, Islamism. Right, peace and love, Moors. This meeting is now adjourned.
Peace and love. Great bill.
Peace and love.
Islam, peace and love, Muslims.